maybe Kenny or Shannon can teach me this. So
East Coast
I'm
over here.
humbly asking, what is the best way for somebody to describe what they're experiencing in their reality in order to it might even be an attempt to validate why what they're saying holds something that should be taken merited, where it does not come off as them flexing. What can y'all give me an example of a way to do that where you validate that you're supporting the premise of what you're saying by this is my end result, or man, what's the word? Proof of concept. How would you use proof of concept in order to describe something when you're talking about these interpersonal relationships in a way that men would not come off as feeling like they boasting or bragging while still maintaining that it works?
You can't. We do it all the time. It's just maybe not as obvious. Look here, y'all remember going to school when your boy came in a new George? He said, "Man, look at my George." What do you think they doing? He's humble bragging about he got some new George, and you still got them ragged ass shell toe Adidas on your feet. Same goddamn thing. We do it all the goddamn time. Why we act like this is something new? Because we lightweight bragging and come on, fellas. We too old for this shit. You got to realize yesterday's price ain't today's prices. You understand what I'm saying? So I understand what somebody said was, well, the women back then ain't doing that now. Okay, well, we need to adjust and adapt. You got to adjust and adapt to the times, right? So my 75 don't have power steering. I'm like this the motherfucker trying to make that goddamn turn. But best believe I'm gonna do it so I can turn them goddamn corners. It is what it is. You got to adjust and adapt.
Can
I will brag right there. All right.
You talking about
Shannon?
They call that they call that wholeflation, Hank. That's what that's called.
If you asking me if you put two TOO, it's all or nothing. When you see TOO, that's all or nothing. Men are blaming women too much. Men have to take accountability. James made a good point. There's too many of these guys that jump on these podcasts and blame women for a brunt of the decisions that they shared 50-50. When you put two, that's ultra, that's more. That's all or nothing. No, we do not. And when a man has a voice, he's thought of as sassy, zesty, and this, and you're arguing with a woman and they change the wording and they craft the narrative that you're the angry black man with all the steam in your chest, and you just want to have a common space where a woman digests, doesn't listen to respond, but listens to understand. And most women, in my opinion, do not do that. They typecast you as this type of person because you're trying to express yourself. Men are not supposed to be in their feelings and be able to break down and say, this bothers me.
Mm-hmm.
Or he looks at it a certain type of way. So when you're asking for it, the fair medium is to not use extremes like he did. He was pandering. He was selling his business. You can't say, and listen, hats off to him. Of course, you're going to try to get more clients. That makes you a good businessman. But I heard what I heard.
What was the extreme then? What was the extreme he said? I don't.
Are men blaming women too? TOO. That's an extreme. Yeah, that's an extreme. Just like you said, adapt and change. Okay. We've been adapting and changing to many things. Now, if one of the men on this panel comes up and says, I want to be known as Jamisha, so we got to adapt and change. And then we're going to keep pushing it. And then we're going to keep going. I'm giving extremes. TOO. I'm going to extremes.
Who ultimately is to blame for the state of the community?
Wait a minute. We lost the right in the 1970s to tell women anything. What do you mean?
No, who ultimately is to blame for the state of the community? Are men to blame for the state of the community, or is it women to blame for the state of the community?
Wait a minute. It's not just one-sided. Yeah, okay. You have to parse through that depending on what you're saying. There's too much gray area depending on what you're trying to pinpoint right there.
So you're saying it's okay. You're saying it's 50-50 and it's dependent on the situation, right? So
we could even say men, but which men?
I'm good with that. If you specifically, because I agree with where you're going on that comment. I agree with you on that.
But why are we trying to tell every woman what to do?
Aren't you the one that started saying that you set the precedent? So you are telling women what to do. Are you not, Hank?
No, I'm not telling everyone. I don't give a shit about her. I don't give a shit about your woman. Trev, I don't give a shit about your woman. James, I don't give a shit about your. I care about mine. I control her. No offense, buddy. I got love for you, but I don't care about her. I control mine.
Okay.
Mine only. That's the only one I need to control or make sure it's in order.
Okay,
let me go. If your woman's out of order, you got to handle your business.
Okay, let me throw a monkey wrench.
You better handle your business. I'm gonna come to you, bro. You might want to check that. You choose to do it, fine. If you choose not to, that's on you. You got to live with that heifer, not me.
Allow me to throw a monkey wrench in that. That woman that goes unchecked, that now is your wife's friend.
Another kind of reference, Mike.
Okay, that woman that goes unchecked, who is now your wife's friend and in her ear regarding certain things of how Hank conducts himself, because you did not check it. Now she's there.
No, she's not her friend.
Wait. It only bothers you when it hits your door front.
No, she's not her friend. Let me tell you what I do. I evaluate friends.
Yeah.
My woman had to let go of a couple of friends because I didn't like their mouth, how they move, how they live, how they acted. So you don't need to hang with that woman no more. I check that. My woman's got to be in order, Kenny. I don't play that bullshit.
I got you, Hank. Now I'm gonna do the same thing I did to Marcus. Line up 10 men. How many men can check their women like you do?
Is that the woman's fault or the man's fault?
All 10 of them motherfuckers.
Here we go.
Why can't you do it though? As a man, I'm gonna talk to you, dog. Why can't you get your woman in order? And if you say, man, she ain't listening to me, okay, dog. What you gonna do about it?
So
are you willing to walk away?
The reason
or you gonna stay there and accept that bullshit?
The reason I said that is okay. Just an honest assessment. You think every man is cut from the cloth that you're cut from?
No, they not.
Okay, so that means you're showing credence to what I'm saying, right?
Just they can learn it.
Just like the point I pointed out with Marcus the other day when he said his girl treated him and did all that, and I said line up 10 men, and then you tried to make a case for it and you couldn't.
So I think so. Let me be clear. One of the things let me just explain this. One of the things I try not to
Marcus, you talking to me, Kenny, or you talking to Marcus?
No, I gave the line up 10 men with you, and then I went to Marcus and I gave the same comparative as for apples and oranges, and it didn't stand the test. I understand what you said. You're going to conduct yourself and your household the way you want it to be, and I believe it.
We got to get to the main topic, y'all.
Hold on, let me just answer this real quick because you brought it up twice. So you got to understand this about me. I am trying to be extremely careful not to offend people who are in the situation that they feel a way in regards to relationships with women. So if I concede something and don't blame men directly, it may not be me agreeing with you. It may just be me saying, hey, this one ain't worth it because there's a larger purpose. So to use that as a talking point that I couldn't line 10 men up. The truth of the matter is, since Hink already put on the table, it's not me bragging or doing none of that. The issue is those 10 men that can't do that. Because if your woman does not listen to you, leave her. Why are you having her as a woman? Move on to the next. That's what Hink is saying. That's what Dude is saying. That's what I'm saying. We're ultimately responsible for anything that goes past the level of us accepting it in a relationship. If you go get a car, we're not gonna go back to the car examples, but ultimately all we saying is that once something moves past the process of just dating to a relationship, there's you heard of the broken window policing. That's how the relationship should be ran too. And ultimately that's what I was pulling for what Dude was saying.
What you're saying is that the trade-offs and compromises are comparative in all 10 situations, which will never be.
Wait, say it again.
What you're saying, the trade-off and compromises in 10 lined up relationships will be exactly the same if you had say about it, and that will never be.
Let's wrap this up with this. Everybody just can't leave. Like it's not. Some men are fucking in love with a woman that's killing them, and you know sometimes it's cheaper to keep her. If I do leave, I just lost everything that I've worked on for the last 30 years. It's not just that easy to just say, well, fuck it, man, if she ain't listening to your ass and just bounce. I wish it was that easy for brothers. But I know we need to move on. Marcus, you asked the question of me of Kenny, and you said, listen, man, how do I not come off? How do I not come off like, you know, like I'm bragging? You don't want to come off braggadocious about how things. Listen, the expression of your opinion, Marcus, you know, when you're intending to demonstrate your fantastic outcomes in relationships and women and all that, or your, you know, when you have like some sort of moral correctness that you have that others don't have, it's fine to say. How you can avoid coming off like what Trigger Mike was saying, and Trigger Mike was talking about the dude in the video, is to empathize with others who don't share your good fortune. It's just that simple. You know, I'm 51 years old. I'm in the gym every day, and I know that there's a lot of other 51-year-old men who look like they got one foot in the grave, fat, sloppy, let it go, and the whole nine. And I'm not gonna be like, well, shit, all you had to do was just do what I did. You know, you should have just took your vitamins, and you should have just ate this, and you should have put the beer down, and you didn't drink. I don't want to come off like that because they may not have the same good fortune that I have, but I'm not going to sit around and just talk about how wonderful my situation was and how I aged gracefully, and they didn't. Instead, I kind of understand where you're going through, and I understand the American diet, and I know those Twinkies was good because I had them too as a kid, and I know those burgers was good. You got to empathize with those that doesn't have your good fortune, and then you won't come off as if you just out here saying, well, shit, y'all just need to just do what I did. I don't see why you can't.
So,
but it'll be a lot more palatable for men.
Okay, so I appreciate.
You want us to coddle him like his mammy did? Is that what you're saying?
No, I want you to empathize with those that don't have your good fortune. That's what I said.
Yes. And I think that's we are way too soft than we used to, Shane. And you know this, brother.
I'm not soft. I'm not the soft one. I'm Drill Sergeant Shan. I run an army.
And with that being said, I would. There's no way I'm going to go soft on this dude when I sit there and watch you. You want these rewards, but I see you knocking down that goddamn Twinkie. Now you eating a Big Mac and shit. And do you want me to be sympathetic and show empathy to your soft ass? Fuck you.
Yeah, because no, hear me out. If that was the case, because we're using food, but what about drugs and alcohol?
You a fucking dope fiend. Go clean up.
And it's not that simple especially when it comes to something that will get a hold of you. You make it seem like drugs is a decision for a lot of people. It's not a decision.
I agree with you. I agree.
Yeah,
but
you can have that same pathetic attitude towards a drug.
No, look at Lapeef, man. Y'all gotta wrap this shit up.
No, but because this should have been the main topic. But check it out. The thing is, in order to the true empathy is coming. The true empathy is coming to speak to try and give the steps to, hey, this is all you have to do to get to this point. Like if you see somebody that's overweight and you look at them and you be like, yeah, it sucks to be big. Those Twinkies be hitting, and then leave them. You essentially missed the opportunity to help them get past it. The best way would be like, hey, it's these trans fats are extremely high. I go to the gym on this way. This is my workout routine. This is what I do. These are the results that I got from doing that. Essentially, and saying it in a palpable way, and not saying, hey, you like I've never called nobody no.
I am not responding to you because JR want to move on.